It's been a long 2 weeks, I will admit, but the Olympics in Milan Cortina have come to a close. For the first time in ice hockey since 1980, gold has returned to the United States. And the NHL will soon be returning to arenas across North America. If you've never been to a game, the home stretch is intense and the roar of the crowd is priceless. You want to find a way to get there? Don't worry, I got you covered. With SeatGeek, the sponsor of this video. I had a hankering for Pens tickets the other day. So I simply opened up their app on my phone and scrolled to my heart's content for any game of my choosing. It sorts all available tickets from red to green on a 1 to 10 scale. The app offers me a view from where I'll be sitting, plus all tickets are backed by their buyer guarantee. Want another guarantee? Use the code TREE in the link below to save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek is infinitely more stable than the Pacific Division this year. Or the rest of the Western Conference, if we're being honest. Let's get right to the 16 teams that inhabit it. Anaheim's a strange team to crack. They have these flashes of brilliance signifying they've turned a corner, and then they simply fall down and die. The Ducks unleashed the youth and we're finally getting somewhere with it. Beckett Seneca and Cutter Gauthier emerging into solid NHL pieces. Leo Carlson's bloom into a pure superstar. Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba both found their mojo again. Sure, there was a conundrum in net with Dostal and Mrazek both being hurt for long stretches, but they were thriving for months on end in this new frontier. Until December. Then they inexplicably imploded with an epic losing skid of their own, swinging them back to the mediocre pages. And it was with Dostal in net. Fortunately, the Ducks got their shit together to rattle off another win streak, but inconsistency may undo them. That and their sluggish power play. Anaheim's so close to breaking the losing conditioning. What'll be the final piece that eclipses it? They can dangle Pavel Minchikov for it if they want. What was it all for? Doing everything in their power to overcome the stench of the Daryl Sutter days, only to remain with that same damn stench. Like more than a few recent Flame seasons, the team cannot offense. At all. Even with a middle-of-the-pack defense, if you don't have a single player reaching 15 goals this late in the year, you're not doing shit. They're all but burning Dustin Wolf like a Roman candle. Dude's done yeoman's work trying to save this team, but the only relief will be spells of Devin Cooley. Somehow leading the league in save percentage? Perhaps that's why Zane Parra calls NHL players robots. Because most of the players on this team may as well be AI generated. Even for their terrible division, the only word of the day will be fire sale. Rasmus Andersson has finally been freed of the shackles of flamedom for the flashy styles of Vegas. They got a nice return for him. Nazem Kadri and Blake Coleman could very well be next. You'll get plenty of Jonathan Huberdeau, though. He's out for the season with hip surgery. His tenure here in Calgary in a nutshell. Well-intentioned, but immediately gets decked to reality and suffers lower body injuries. It's amazing. Over a decade after their last cup, this team has still forgotten how to hockey properly. You can reason it as the team rebuilding on top of a rebuild, yes, but it's just a smattering of shit thrown at a dartboard hoping something sticks. Relegated to the Connor Bedard show as he's leading the team in points by a country mile. He was hurt for about a month. Frank Nazar was doing well too, and then he got shelved with injury for a bit as well. Even for having some interesting pieces in a rich prospect system, there's little here in the form of a cohesive unit. Spencer Knight has his moments, great penalty kill, but that's about it. There are grace periods for rebuilds, but that time's running out quickly. Chicago isn't doing enough to deal with all the dead weight around them. Like many past campaigns where Blackhawk went down, it's an everything problem. Again. Try again next year. There are great hockey teams. There are wagons beyond compare, and then there's the Avalanche. For reference, they had only 2 regulation losses through New Year's. They're still the only team with single-digit losses in regulation. Jared Bednar manning a force rivaling days of Sakic, Forsberg, and Waugh. Nathan McKinnon's had another worldly season rivaling McDavid for the Art Ross. Cale Makar's been Norris caliber again. Martin Necas isn't just having a season, they've avoided another Mikko situation with a long-term extension. Even Brock Nelson and Brent Burns have turned back the clock with their play. All of that isn't mentioning their netminders. The Woods have been fruitful, performing at a level competing for the William Jennings. This is all while the captain hasn't been the same and guys like Manson, Taves, and Nichushkin have had injuries and some regression. The only problem is that they've had a tapered January for their sky-high expectations. Being mediocre while your divisions become a marathon, power play is somehow god-awful? Work still needs doing. You think they'll be busy again at the deadline? With their talent, there's no other choice. Colorado's been the star of the Central show. The Stars are on their heels with a hot season of their own. And it's one-time Av juggernaut Mikko Rantanen that's leading the charge. Yes, he's still a dynamo. The boys' clubs of the Olympic teams may disagree, but Wyatt Johnston and Jason Robertson have been incredible forces that will lead a new era of Stars hockey. Unless they can't afford to pay Robertson and he might be shipped off. They needed that money for Tom Harley, it's not their fault. But that's not important right now. A strong, well-balanced roster that can roll 4 lines has a white-hot power play and will be a legitimate threat in April. Unless the injury bug takes them out again. And the least surprising news possible, oft-injured Tyler Seguin has been ruled out for the season again. Matt Duchene and Jamie Benn have been on IR for good chunks of the year. Also, is someone going to get Otter back in form? It's been incoherent in net since the year changed. The team kind of has been since Christmas, to be honest. It's not full panic yet. Dallas snapped out of it before the Olympic break and their talent's still second to none, but so's Colorado and Minnesota. The gauntlet will continue until morale improves. You know the drill with these boys by now. Connor and Leon are being Connor and Leon. Once again carrying the team to any sort of relevance, much to the chagrin of everything else. After this dynamic duo, their next best scorer is Evan Bouchard, who has a life-threatening allergy to playing defense. Nugent Hopkins and Hyman were hurt for a bit, to be fair, but for depth, it's desperately trying to find pieces that fit. And Trent Frederick. They extended this guy for 8 years to get 2 goals in over 50 games? Even Tomaszek's outproduced him and he's been in Europe for months! Then there's the perennial shit show in net. Stuart Skinner's a much maligned hot and cold mess most days. Heavy emphasis on mess. Finally free Edmonton. The shackles of Skinner are gone. Enter from stage right, Eastern Conference Stuart Skinner. Tristan Jarry's been Tristan Jarry, an inconsistent wreck who also got hurt just after being acquired. It's very fortunate that the Connor and Leon show's been thriving in sweeps month, but that might be more due to their division. When things get to the point where they're trying to woo the flower out of retirement, there are hairline cracks starting to spread. 2 words should strike fear into every Edmontonian from this point forward. Stan Bowman. And what the hell happened to Andrew Mangiapane? I'd say the Kings don't make a damn bit of sense, but that's been their MO as of late, to be fair. They're in the thick of a division race, but don't feel all that serious. The usual suspects are doing their thing in LA. Hell, Corey Perry's doing everything in his power to taste the nectar of another Stanley Cup Series loss. Yet mirroring their home record, this team's in a precarious spot. Feels like an operation propped up by brittle sticks that could break at any time. Honestly, kind of like how Philip Deneau and Warren Fogle fell off the face of a map. The Kings have a kryptonite that weakens them at every opportunity. A dastardly vice of most heinous variety. Overtime. They can barely win there. 14 extracurricular losses so far. We have about 25 games left. You do the math. And since December, they've progressed to the mean of being a subpar hockey team. Like Quentin Byfield, flashes of brilliance followed by such frustrating play that he might be shipped off soon. How shocking, Dumoulin and Ceci have done pretty much nothing. A fate as woeful as their special teams have been. But don't tell the Kings this reality. They still believe they can do it. The Pacific is so open, it's gaping. Just need someone to start scoring some goals. What's that you're saying? Artemi Panarin wants to come to LA? And we only have to pay pennies on the dollar for his services? And he wants to take a pay cut with a short-term extension? Maybe the Corey Perry Invitational's happening after all. And there goes Kevin Fiala for the season. After so much mediocrity, a team gets tired of being mired in it. Colorado and Dallas may run the Central, but the Wild are quietly waiting in the shadows. Kaprizov's just as lethal as ever. Matthew Boldy's becoming a star in the league. Jesper Wallstedt's realized the potential scouts dreamed he had to form a shutdown pair with Philip Gustafsson in the crease. But there was something missing. They need more impact talents. Being close but not close enough isn't enough. Fighting fire with fire is the only way. So one day Bill Guerin walked into his office and said, "Fuck it, let's go get Quinn Hughes." Vancouver ain't gonna sign him, they're at an impasse and he's available. Price they paid for Quinn was steep as hell. Especially considering he doesn't have an extension, but the results more than show for themselves. The Wild are legit now. Hughes was the missing piece for many things, particularly their power play. Now the question remains if it can be sustained. Minnesota's been in this position before, only to be spanked by other powerhouses in the West in the first round. Sure would be agonizing for that to happen again. Keep buying. Mid. The franchise. No other words are needed. Nashville fancied last year as a mere fluke. Well, it's not a massive chasm, but they're proving it to be the opposite. Building a team in Barry Trotz's image without the key ingredient to making it work. So what you get's a team in hockey limbo. Not good enough to be taken seriously, not bad enough to be a player in the draft lottery. Yeah, they can clinch a playoff spot, especially since Ryan O'Reilly and Philip Forsberg are in peak form, but they're getting walloped unless you say Saros is too good right now. There were serious concerns about Steven Stamkos early on, but he's back to residing in his office slapping goals in on repeats. Besides, the real issues are Marchessault and Shea, and the fact that next to no one's properly developing on this damn team. Barry Trotz is many things, but he's not a GM. The Eggman himself knows it too. He's stepping down from his role. Honestly, the nice way of letting him go for years of prior service. But where does Nashville go from here? More delusions or pray they can actually develop players? They're stuck, and I don't envy them. All hail Macklin Celebrini. He is the revelation that San Jose's been dying for ever since the legends of old walked away. A transcendent talent emerging with a teenage campaign the league hasn't seen since Sid the Kid. Out of the basement and into the relevance of contending, kinda on schedule. Mac leading a team of things to the promised land. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of the 05-06 Penguins. A lot of random parts that are still trying to gel. You have the rising youth of Will Smith, William Eklund, and Connor Kraft. Michael Misa and Igor Chernyshov make cameo appearances. But then you get to the chorus. It's a who's who of former top 6 talents, tweeners, bad contracts, and reclamation projects. Wait, John Klingberg's back to form and in health? Wait, when the hell did Pavel Regenda start scoring like that? It's all complemented by one of the most hit-or-miss goalie tandems in hockey. Yaroslav Askarov sometimes reaches his elite upside, others he's AHL caliber. And it's the same way, it's strange. The team is as well, but it's a fascinating group both here and in the future. Such a rise that the San Jose Super Wholesale Emporium's become a pawn shop. They took Kiefer Sherwood off Vancouver's hands for a few draft picks. San Jose buying? The world is healing. Experience Blues goaltending! It's fucking terrible. I am not joking whatsoever with that. Jordan Binnington goes through these weird phases in his career where he not only fights opposing players, he fights his own net by beating the shit out of it with pucks. The dude legitimately can't make a save this year. Every metric imaginable and even the eye test prove it. The dude's fallen off like Humpty Dumpty. And he's still getting starting minutes. Joel Hofer is as mercurial as Benny's temper. What it leads to is a team circling the drains of futility. Oh, it's not just goaltending that's awful. They legitimately can't score either. Their leading goal guy is Jake Neighbors with 14. Sure, Dylan Holloway's been hurt, but they've been desperately trying to fix issues to no avail. Scoring must be hiding like Hofer in the back. No glory is coming to save them here. Only showcasing Robert Thomas for a king's ransom among others. Seasons like the final minutes of Game 7 against the Jets every damn game. Their penalty kill is atrocious. They've blown 2 4-goal leads this year. 20 blown leads in total. It's fucking pathetic. Monty may not be long for this world with shit like this. In fact, I have a serious question to ask. Why the fuck is Binnington on the Canadian Olympic team? And why is he suddenly dominating again? We're talking teams that are punching above their weight. Is it a bad thing if I throw Seattle on this list? Are they merely benefiting from a pathetically weak Pacific Division, or are there legs to this franchise? On one side, you had a bitterly cold late November losing 9 of 10. Lane Lambert somehow running press conferences like a dictatorship, somehow working to the point of them winning 8 of 9 after. Then losing streak and winning form leading to insane inconsistency. Can this team score goals whatsoever without Jared McCann shooting at an unsustainable clip? Do they have anything resembling a power play? Philip Grubauer's back to elite form? The Kraken made a massive play for Artemi Panarin? What the hell? Okay, well this team's definitely a wildcard in more ways than one. Will the real Seattle please stand up? Are they a strong defensive cocoon or PDO merchants that piss off their young talent at every turn? This final stretch is gonna be telling, but I don't think they'll be trading the likes of Mason Marchment soon. They smell blood, and the Kraken want the taste of flesh again. Will the Mammoth ever figure out what it takes to be a true contender? It feels like they're a stubborn climax in the bedroom. They're so close to figuring it out and releasing fire onto the hockey world. But Utah just has to get over that hump. That start had some promise, then it's a skid back to hell again. But what they don't lack is solid 5-on-5 play. The young core is continuing to blossom. JJ Peterka's filled in perfectly, and team depth is quite respectable so far. And this is with a long-term injury to Logan Cooley. Imagine how it'll be when he comes back. They're like Karel Vejmelka, racking up the wins, but you still wonder if the Mammoth are turning the page or still have a bit more to go before they truly get there. Considering their surprisingly shit power play, I'd say more of the latter. You know the goal, Utah. Just find a way to get to the playoffs and let the cards fall where they lie. The Great Salt Lake will embrace such a berth as the house money it should be. This team really hasn't played in a shootout yet? Don't worry, Vancouver. Your team may be in complete shit. There's next to no hope for the future, and Thatcher Demko's injured yet again, but latter stage JR just needs to make more moves. A couple of deals swung. Some vets like David Comp brought in. Boom! They're good again. It's a Hans Moleman special, baby. Soon enough, they'll be winning in bunches, and Elias Pettersson will be back to his old form, and this team won't be a total waste, and Quinn Hughes is gonna get He got traded to Minnesota? He's not a Devil? Well, they did get a really nice return. Even if none of those pieces will have the upside of a Quinn Hughes, but that doesn't matter. The Canucks are full of so much stuff. And bringing everybody back was trash. Okay, new game plan. They'll secure the first overall pick and trade away Kiefer Sherwood playing over his head, and everything will be fine. How the fuck do you make Oregon State look good? If there's anything you can't deny, Vegas sure knows how to steal the headlines. For better or worse. It's as consistent as Mark Stone being forced back into the shop for repairs. Mitch Marner's been as advertised, with Jack Eichel thriving on a contract year. Though depth has had its moments, but Vegas is trying to figure that out on the fly. To mixed results. But even with Wild Bill out for a while, things are looking okay, right? They've had 8 comeback wins in the third. They're leading the Pacific handily. Then you get to what's in net. My kingdom for a goddamn goalie. Akira Schmid did decent work at first, but he was over-relied upon and ran out of gas. The maligned Carter Hart was hailed as the savior of net after a disastrous November. And he was looking decent enough. Until he got hurt long-term. What you're hearing are the usual suspects in the hockey audience cheering this news. They're also cheering Aiden Hill falling off hard in such woes in overtime you'd think they were being docked pay. 1-6 in shootouts, 14 overtime losses. Are you afflicted with the same disease the Kings have? Just like LA, the only way to try and fix it is throw more talent at the problem until it's cured. Rasmus Anderson's the next prize acquired from the machine. It's a pretty steep bill, especially without an extension, but you know what silences those questions. Besides good goaltending. Get to it. What deal did you make for that playoff series win last April? The Jets haven't just crashed, they've all but taken a nosedive into the Red River of the North. Murphy's Law in hockey form. And it's a hell of a lot more than Hellebuck being out for a decent period of time. This team's got so many issues they may as well be the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. They're the equivalent of a kiddie pool. No depth whatsoever. Every game's become the Connor Scheifele and Morrissey show, praying that they can carry this sad sack to any sort of relevance. It hasn't worked. Winnipeg's becoming more and more like Jonathan Taves' return to the NHL. Shock on the Celtics. Turns out when Connor Hellebuck isn't bailing the men in front of him out at every turn, this team is ass-rivaling a Bella Danger. The last word being what the Jets are in. Kevin Cheveldayoff has survived a lot of shit over the years, but with the pathetic return of recent drafts, cannon might be pointed directly at him. Shit needs to get right and fast.
Swayman tells Vasilevsky, take your mask off, and he obliges.
This is crazy. Oh! Everybody up on both benches.